So, the Foot the Bill for Saw 2 is out, and once again, Kitten Arcader has done a great job with it. Does that mean I won't have some quibbles with the math? Of course it doesn't. Why would we be here otherwise? This time I didn't feel like as many items were missed, although he missed not only the massive undervaluation of what it cost to make a Billy doll, as well as the fact that this is Billy doll number 4 at the cost of another $2,000. That said, Kitten Arcader thinks that Adam was in on it, which means from his point of view, the story about Adam smashing up the doll never actually happened, so he shouldn't include this at all in his count. Anyway, instead of going over every item like I did last time, I'm going to take the bill as established in the video and make changes to it as I come across them. Some of these changes are just items that were missed, and some are things that I believe were misinterpreted. Fun fact, unlike last time, this isn't just a case of things being undervalued. So, right from the start, I'm going to say that custom-made Man in the Iron Mask masks aren't free, and since Jigsaw doesn't have a blacksmithing forge, he must have commissioned this, for a price that I'm estimating at $1,500. Next we have the electrocution cage, which is clearly not an original feature of the machining plant, because why would it be? Call this an extra $500 worth of fencing around the existing staircase. Also, unrelated, but I don't think these two cops were actually killed by electricity, solely because if they had been, the other cops would likely have immediately executed Jigsaw. I mean, why do they all have drop guns tucked under their bulletproof vests, if not for this exact situation? Now, let's talk about the first big change between my costing and Kitten Arcader's. He put a $15,000 price tag on the development and deployment of sarin gas. Now, I'm not going to argue the estimation here, because there's no reason to. There was no sarin gas. That was just a lie Jigsaw told to freak everyone out and motivate them. Jigsaw tries to be as precise as possible in his trap design, and using sarin gas, which not only kills incredibly quickly but affects people at different rates, is way too messy. So why are people getting sick? Most likely it's because they've been given the same kind of slow-acting poison that Jigsaw used to force Zepp Hindle into working for him. Assuming $150 for each dose of poison and its corresponding antidote, that's a total cost of $1,050. There were only 7 doses, of course, because Amanda was never actually poisoned. Also, given how little he demonstrates the effects, Daniel might have only been given a half dose. I won't change the cost of that, though. At this point in the video, he's charged Jigsaw money that he didn't need to, because this gun is obviously supposed to be the gun from the first film. Yes, it's a different model, but that has more to do with the fact that the first film was shot in Australia and the second was shot in Toronto, and they weren't able to get the exact same prop. The fact that the style of the gun, a chonky silver revolver with a black handle, is identical, and the empty gun being missing from the bathroom at the end of the film makes the filmmaker's intention clear here. Now we have a place where the video seems to be talking about production design rather than the movie itself. It's completely clear within the narrative of the film that the thing Obi winds up burned alive in is supposed to be a crematorium and not a jury-rigged boiler, despite what the behind-the-scenes interviews might have said. As Kitten Arcader says, it looks nothing like a boiler and is exactly like a giant oven, right down to having a heat-proof tempered glass window in it so you can check how the burning is going. So we're going to go with a $10,000 estimation for what a crematorium should cost, given that this one is clearly a used model. While it's nice to see Kitten Arcader raise the estimate of what streaming computers cost, he's still failing to factor in that Jigsaw needs a custom-built server to stream all of that information to the Steelworks, so let's call that another $5,000. The next big price is the pit of needles. Kitten Arcader talks about how many needles are used in a hospital every day, and yeah, it's a lot, but there's no easy way to steal those. Used needles are considered medical waste and a biohazard, and there are extremely strict laws about how they're handled and disposed of. Medical waste companies are hired to pick up those needles, and they know exactly how many of them they're moving. A day in which there just weren't any needles, let alone a week of it, would send up alarms all over the place and bring attention that Jigsaw and Dr. Gordon absolutely don't need. Besides which, Amanda's test is to keep Daniel alive so that Jigsaw can torture Detective Matthews with the tape of the game. He's not going to risk their lives and health by putting them in a house full of diseased needles, especially since his intention is that Amanda will go on being Jigsaw for years to come. The long and short of it is, John had to pay for the needles, and then spray them with paint to make them look dirty. Based on the cheapest bulk needles I could find, this would have cost him around $9,500. Also, can we talk for a second about how unfair this game is? In the tape he mentions a pit and says it will be like finding a needle in a haystack. Now, there's an actual clue that makes this game winnable, and that's the fact that the key is attached to a syringe full of glowing goop from a chemical light. Turn off the lights in the room and it would actually be possible to find the key in the pit by following the glow. But nothing in the tape's message suggests doing that, the way the crematorium tape clearly said how to shut off the gas. This key is attached to a syringe in a pit of over 100,000 syringes. It would be impossible to find it in the 4 minutes they have. Amanda only manages it within 2 minutes because she knows where she put it. And come on, Foley artists. What's with all the breaking glass sound effects? We all know that those syringes are plastic. Now, the single biggest expense in the video, the tunnel under the house. Here's the thing. I don't think Jigsaw built that. So I'm just going to zero out Kitten Arcader's estimate. I think he picked this house for the games because that tunnel was already there. Let's not forget, it's established at the end of Saw that the bathroom where most of the movie is set is located beneath a derelict waste treatment facility, one with a huge amount of access tunnels running under it. Jigsaw picked this house for the game because it was directly over the tunnels that branch out from the facility. The most we can say that he did is install the trapdoor and put in the staircase, which I'm calling around $3,000 for the materials, including putting a new plywood floor in the house's living room to hide the trapdoor. Finally, we can talk real estate. It's Kitten Arcader's policy not to charge Jigsaw for the bits and pieces of metal that he finds in his metalworking shop and warehouses, which is fine. They came with those buildings. But we still have to charge him for the buildings themselves. If this factory was something John Kramer owned before the whole Jigsaw murders started, that would be one thing. But just like the doll factory in Stygian Street, the cops can't identify the owner the way they'd be able to if it was something he bought back in the day, meaning that he purchased it secretly through shell corporations specifically for use in murdering people, meaning that we've got to add it to the bill. We can assume that it's in a similarly bad part of town to the doll factory, so let's call this another $40,000. At this point, I'd love to include the cost of the house and defunct waste treatment facility along with the surrounding property in the bill, but unfortunately we can't say for sure that John didn't already own that property rather than buying it specifically for murder purposes, which is too bad since I'd love to slap another $100,000 onto the price tag for this movie. So when the credits roll, we get a final result of $113,235.56. Meaning there's a difference of $1,529.59. I'm a little surprised that my estimation was lower than Kitten Arcader's, but our disagreements are about whether to include real estate and if Jigsaw built that tunnel, which he clearly didn't. Come on, there are active steam pipes running through those tunnels, and there's no way he put all that together. Seriously though, incredible job on the research this time. I was amazed that Kitten Arcader was able to identify all of the items on Jigsaw's wall of insane technology. I am very much looking forward to seeing how Saw 3 turns out. Also, if he truly believes that Adam was working for Jigsaw the whole time, and that's not his body down in the bathroom, which, I understand, the manacle is on the wrong leg, so I get why people think this. Why exactly didn't he include the cost of obtaining a new body to put down there? Anyway, I've been the Hidden Object Guru. Thanks for watching. If you had a good time and you'd like to see more, there's buttons coming up to help you with that. Questions, suggestions for stuff you want me to cover, go in the comment section below the video. I'll see you back here for more Saw video criticisms whenever Kitten Arcader's new Saw video comes out. Although honestly, I think 3 is so clear that we're probably going to agree on most of that one. Although once people know who John Kramer is, I'm interested to see how the real estate stuff shakes out. Anyway, until then, au revoir.